You're watching Studio J, the best of Jefferson Multimedia from Jefferson Middle School in the Fort Wayne Community Schools. Our first video is something that the teaching staff created for our students back when we were in quarantine in the spring. It's called JMS, We Miss You.
And now, a very serious message from Jefferson Middle School.
Can anybody see me?
You can't hear the washer and dryer in the background, can you?
Gotta get my hair right. Hey, Patriots.
What's up, Jefferson?
Bienvenidos.
Hey, we hope you're safe.
You doing okay?
We miss you.
Big time.
And we hope you're doing well.
This was not how we wanted to end the school year.
Nope, not even close.
Take care of yourselves.
And your families. And we can't wait to see you again.
Get some sun.
Get some exercise.
And make some music.
So, before we leave, why did Humpty Dumpty have a great fall?
I don't know. Why did Humpty Dumpty have a great fall?
To make up for his miserable summer.
What do you call a fish with no eyes?
A fish.
Did you hear about the new restaurant on the moon?
Yeah, great food. No atmosphere.
What kind of parrot can tell time?
A clockatiel.
What do you call a magic dog?
A labracadabrador.
Yeah, mine was better.
Yeah, Clevenger, it definitely wasn't.
Why do fish live in salt water?
Because pepper water makes them sneeze.
What do you call a boomerang that won't come back?
A stick.
Why can't you trust an artist?
I don't know. Why can't you trust an artist?
Because they're shady, they're a little sketchy, and they'll try to frame you.
Why can't Cinderella play soccer?
'Cause she's always running away from the ball.
Ooh, that's bad.
Thanks, hon, I try.
What do you call mac and cheese that always gets up in your face?
Too close for comfort food. Yeah.
So from all of your teachers at Jefferson Middle School,
Goodbye.
adios.
We miss you. Stay safe and healthy.
And we hope to see you again.
Very soon.
Goodbye.
Go Patriots!
Right at the end, the dog went.
I forgot what my line was.
I forgot too.
And my Oscar, this goes out to Steve Hepler and all my friends. Thank you.
I forgot my lines, though.
Oh, did you know that autocorrect turns Lonsberry into Loneberry? So she's just one berry all by herself.
Stick a fork in me. Bye, y'all. I love y'all and miss you.
Goodbye.
Jefferson Multimedia is starting the new year with a new unit called History and Hamilton. Each student will research a historical event or a historical figure and write an original rap, poem, or song about that person. And the especially brave can even record their songs and share them with the class. Like this.
1, 2, 3, 4. Alexander Hamilton. My name is Alexander Hamilton. And there's a million things I haven't done. But just you wait, just you wait.
What is up, Jefferson Multimedia? Let's start a new unit today. I want to do something really weird and kind of funky and creative. This one's called History and Hamilton. Here's what I'd like us to do. If you haven't been watching Disney Plus over the summer, Hamilton, the musical, which came out in 2016, is all over the news, and it has been for the past 4 years. The whole story is they took the life history of Alexander Hamilton and all of those guys from the American Revolution, and they made a musical out of it. Lots of really cool rap, hip-hop, all kinds of different musical styles. I want to do a much smaller version in our classroom. So what I want you to do is I want you to find something from history that you've always been interested in? What's something that sounds interesting to you? I'm picking something from American history. You don't have to do that. You could do science history if you want to talk about the first man on the moon, or from music history, or movie history, or whatever it is you like. But I want to learn something about Juneteenth, because I know the basics of it, but I need to know more, right? So what I did was I found a source on it. I'm going to start simple. I'm going to start with one source to give me my information so it's not too hard for us. I went to history.com. Let's just read through it and see what's the day about. The first thing I want you to do is learn what you're talking about. Here we go. Juneteenth, short for June 19th, marks the day when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas in 1865 to take control of the state and ensure that all enslaved people be freed. The troops' arrival came a full 2.5 years after signing the Emancipation Proclamation. Juneteenth honors the end to slavery in the United States and is considered the longest-running African-American holiday. Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse 2 months earlier in Virginia. So the South surrendered at the end of the Civil War, but slavery remained relatively unaffected in Texas until U.S. General Gordon Granger, there's a name I might want to look up, stood on Texas soil and read General Order Number 3. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with the proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. So what's the deal here? The Emancipation Proclamation was issued by President Lincoln on January 1st, 1863. It established that all slaves in the Confederate States, in rebellion against the Union, the northern states, shall be thenceforward and forever free. But in reality, the Emancipation Proclamation didn't instantly free any enslaved people. The proclamation only applied to places under Confederate control, so only in the southern states, right? And not to slaveholding border states or rebel areas already under Union control. So if they were right on the border, or if they weren't in the South, slaves were still being held. However, as Northern troops advanced into the Confederate South, many enslaved people fled behind the Union lines. Ooh, look at this. In Texas, slavery continued as the state experienced no large-scale fighting or significant presence of Union troops. Many slavers, many people who held slaves from outside of Texas moved there because they thought they were safe. Okay, we're going to go to where they can't bust us for doing this thing that's so horrible. After the war ended in 1865, Granger's arrival in Galveston that June signaled freedom for Texas's 250,000 enslaved people. There were 250,000 people still in chains. Even though emancipation or freedom didn't happen overnight, in some cases, slavers withheld the information until after the harvest season. Yeah, so they could still have people working in the fields. But then celebrations broke out among newly freed black people and Juneteenth was born. That December, slavery in America was formally abolished with the adoption of the 13th Amendment. So that's the basic beginning. I'm just going to go with this one source, and I want to do it like Hamilton. I want to have people go back and forth and argue about what's right and what's wrong. So how do I want to do this? I know I want to look up this General Granger. I might look up Robert E. Lee and write something from his viewpoint. I'm going to summarize the history. I'm going to put it in a poem form so it can be sung or you can rap it. It bugs me that I'm assuming all of the people in this story are white. We need comments in history from the black perspective as well. I'm going to look them up. I'll get back to you and tell you what I find. So our first assignment has 2 parts. Find something from music history, political history, science history, sports history, anything you like that you could write a poem about. Find one really good source that tells the whole story and we'll write our poetry from there. So find the source and learn the details of the event, and then soon we'll start talking about how to write the poetry and how to make it rhyme. That's all I got. Thanks. See you soon. Bye-bye. Since we incorporated hip-hop into our unit, I wanted to do a lesson on beatboxing because you don't have to have musical instruments to make background music for your track. It's easier than you might think, and here's how it's done. Hey Jefferson, it's time for a lesson I've really been looking forward to. I want to show you how to beatbox today. There are 4 sounds you need to know. If you can make these 4 sounds, you can beatbox. The first one is the bass drum. That's the big round drum facing the audience. It's on the floor. The sound is easy. It's the letter P. The snare drum, that's the drum that's right in front that the drummer hits with the left hand. And that sound is easy. It's K-A. The hi-hat cymbal is the cymbal that the drummer usually uses the right hand and hits it. The cool thing about the hi-hat, it's just 2 cymbals that are closed. When they're closed, it's TS. Tss. So they hit it with a cymbal and tss, 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 tss. But when you step on the pedal, the cymbals go apart. And then they close back together. And when they close back together, it's just the word sick without the I. So it's like tsk, 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 tsk. It's more like T-S-K, T-S-K, tsk, 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 tsk. And my favorite is the DJ scratch. A lot of people go wiki wiki, but I'm more of an irrit kind of guy, I-R-R-I-T. If you can master those 4 sounds, you can beatbox. Sometimes if you just do the bass and the snare, you can be like and I know you know that song. I just recorded a second audio track of me singing the bass, and it works. But a lot of beats are pretty simple. If you can do the bass drum, the snare, and the hi-hat, like Despacito was like really big last year, and it's pretty much the only thing you have to do is you got to figure out where to breathe. So sometimes at the end of a phrase, you'll want to leave one beat open so you can breathe like so after that last bass drum, I breathe so I don't run out of breath. But if you can take that and add the scratch into it, you can do like some really cool stuff. Like for me, it's old school. So can you go like it's weird. You look really funny doing it. But all you really need to do is practice. You can tell this is just me on my deck with my phone in my hand. I don't even have a tripod. But some of us will want to record this. We'll want to record our songs and record our raps. And some of us, we have apps that we like where you can like multi-track vocals and stuff. So which apps do I want you to use? I want you to play with the ones you know. Could you record your beatbox and then rap on top of that? Could you have your brother, who's good with the beatbox, do that part while you rap or sing over the top of it? There's nothing really that I want us to use. I just want you to use what's best for you. And some of you won't want to record it at all. That's fine too. But if you have an app you like where you can sing, rap, beatbox, that would be great. If you'd like to just find a karaoke track for your parody song on your computer, set up your phone and record yourself singing along with the karaoke. That would be cool too. There are so many ways to do this. So for those that want to get in on it and make the recording, go for it. Those that don't, let's just write the poetry and call it good. For those that do want to record stuff, if you want to experiment, if you want to try something new, here's my deal with you. You have to tell me, hey, I want to try to record my song. Once you tell me that, you will have 3 days to get something done. At the end of 3 days, you will have to show me your video, even if it stinks, even if you hate it. Because what a lot of us do is we say we want to try something, but we try it and we're not super happy with it and we quit. And then we have nothing to show for our time.
I guess the big thing I want you to remember in this unit is you're going to make stuff that you think is dumb, that you think looks stupid and you're ashamed of. No one's going to see it but me, but I have to see the progress you've done, because otherwise it's just, hey, I worked for something on 3 days, I have absolutely nothing to show you, and you gotta trust me. No, you gotta show me the stuff you're ashamed of, and I'll keep it between the two of us, right? But it's fun. I'm going to do a couple of examples and show you this as we go. But if you want to try the beatboxing, the bass drum is p, the snare drum is k, the hi-hat when it's closed is ts, when you close it, tss, and the scratch is ip. Have fun with this. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. And here's the first music video ever produced at Jefferson Multimedia. 2 students at Northrop were in a rap duo, and they wrote an original song and then recorded it. But one of them had a younger sister in our media classes at Jefferson, and the sister and her friend made a video to go with her brother's song. This is Times Like These, produced by Brenda Olvera and Dylan Kirkwood.
Yeah. Sometimes I think of old friends, life goes by quick, so I gotta hold on and see where I'll get. Everything temporary, nothing lasts forever. Excuse the negativity, I'm as real as ever. The truth hurts sometimes, open your eyes and then you realize everything ain't fine. Losing track of time, it's hard to slow my mind when you ask the question why. Open up your third eye, stop being blind. It's hard to see the world for what it really is. It's hard to understand and I can't comprehend everything, so I just focus on my dreams. Those without goals wouldn't know what I mean. It's times like these that we can't get back. It's not what life throws you, it's how you react. Got a late start, but we plan to leave a mark. How about you? Where you at? It's times like these that we can't get back. It's not what life throws you, it's how you react. Got a late start, but we plan to leave a mark. How about you? Where you at? This life we live is a priceless gift. I write this script, it goes lightning quick. Ain't it crazy how time flies, hit you like a drive-by. Said hello a couple days ago, but now it's bye-bye. I miss you, hope to see you again. Among issues that we had, still consider us friends. You got tissues, now you sad, thinking here we go again. Can't live in the past, gotta let the future end. Cause like it or not, the time will strike on that clock. Bring heat like Dwayne, so I fight like The Rock. Now stop, but can't stop progression and keep asking questions, cause life has its lessons. They're never ending, you live and you learn. Earth continues to turn, stand tall and stay firm. Realize you're not defined by what you earn, cause you could be a millionaire but not on your own terms. I'd rather be poor with a smile on my face as opposed to paying bills with a job I hate. Can anybody in this world relate? No, there's much more to life than just making cake. It's times like these that we can't get back. It's not what life throws you, it's how you react. Got a late start, but we plan to leave a mark. How about you? Where you at? It's times like these that we can't get back. It's not what life throws you, it's how you react. Got a late start, but we plan to leave a mark. How about you? Where you at? Never was the best, at most I was second. Now I realize that my mind is my weapon. Along the way I learned a couple life lessons. Just another day, but I must remain humble. The world's a wild place, similar to a jungle. Seen a lot of homies be part of the struggle, including myself, but now we out of the rubble. No handouts, man, I just began to hustle. You must understand that life's a big puzzle. Save your rebuttal, I don't care if you agree. Not cold-blooded, but that's how it be. It's times like these that we can't get back. It's not what life throws you, it's how you react. Got a late start, but we plan to leave a mark. How about you? Where you at? It's times like these that we can't get back. It's not what life throws you, it's how you react. Got a late start, but we plan to leave a mark. How about you? Where you at? Where you at? I don't even know where I am. Just composing raps out the blue like cyan. I told myself I'll be the best that I can. Ain't no way that I'ma fail, cause this is my plan. Swing big, aim past the fences. May whip, but when you hit it, you'll be glad that you did it. When things can't get worse, don't treat it like whatever. When things can't get worse, life can only get better. Take these words to the heart, I said apart from the start. I know you feel the passion that I put into this art. Shopping for the answers, but I got an empty cart. I always keep it in my head that things fall apart, but my roots so strong. I got proof in the song that the truth was wrong. Yeah, I knew all along. Didn't you know that his brain's overgrown? No, that's why you listen to this song.
Hi, and welcome to my kitchen. Today I'll be showing you how to make the shermone. For this, you'll need a non-stick solution or butter. You'll need milk, salt and pepper, cheese, diced ham, eggs, sliced mushroom, a pan, a bowl, spatula, and a fork for whisking the eggs. Now it's time to whisk your eggs. And before you take out any of the eggs and start whisking, you should wash your hands. So, crack your 3 eggs in. Then you start whisking. Make sure to crack the egg yolks. Now it's time to preheat your pan. Remember not to put your non-stick solution in just yet. Now, after a little bit more whisking, you add your ingredients. Milk, some salt to add some more flavor, and some pepper. You can also add cheese if you want a little bit more crisp, but I don't. Remember, after you're done whisking, you have to wash your hands. Now, you bring your mix over and you add your non-stick solution. If you have butter, then you have to mix it around, as well as when you're mixing it around the pan as you're adding it. And if you didn't preheat your pan, it's not going to go quite this quickly, but it's also fine if you didn't. It's just to make it go a little more quick. Now you add your mixture. After you add your mixture, then you wait 3 minutes. During the 3 minutes, you want to cut the edges of the omelet to the pan like this a couple times so it doesn't stick to the edge of the pan. Now you have to add your extra ingredients to your omelet. If you don't want to add some of them, you don't have to. While you add the mushrooms, if you want to break them in your hand a little bit, you can. Just to make them a little smaller, so it's easier to eat. Now you cook it for 2 minutes. Now you flip it over one more time. Now you flip it over in a half like this. And it's okay if you take it off the burner. Then you add your salt and pepper to one side each. And then you flip. You do this to the other side. You add the salt and pepper. And then you wait 30 seconds before flipping it again. Now, if you want to put your egg on the plate.
Every morning I'm in the kitchen and I think about the great shroom omelet. Now you get to eat it too. Now that you know how to make this shroom omelet, go ahead and try. Goodbye.
One of our assignments from the spring was called the Exact Instructions Challenge, where you write down the exact instructions for doing a really simple task on a sheet of paper. Then you give that sheet of paper to a friend or a relative. They try to do the thing that the paper tells them to, and you see just how many steps you've left out of the process. This video is a perfect example of that. It's called Ramen Gone Wrong.
First instructions are to grab the ramen noodle package, open, and place the noodles in the microwave safe bowl. Sorry, you can. Second instruction is take out the small packet. And third says fill with water until covered. No. It says fill with water until covered. My next instructions is put in microwave for 3 minutes.
Love you lots, Mom.
And my timer set for 3 minutes.
Time to check on the ramen.
Okay, my next instructions is take it out of the microwave.
Mine's on the way.
And it says put the small packet in the bowl. No. The next instruction says stir and enjoy. I'm not going to enjoy this.
Oh shoot! I'm gonna be late for school. Graham, have you seen my shoes? Graham, where are my shoes? Oh my god. Dad, help!
What's the matter? Oh my God. Kathleen, are you all right? We gotta get her to the hospital. Come on.
All right.
Alex, come on, hurry. Hurry up, Alex. Time is important. Come on, traffic. Green light, please. Alex, you better go check her pulse right now.
All right. Yeah, I feel it. I feel it.
All right, we're here. Now, Alex, we've got to work together to get her out of this car and get her inside the hospital, all right?
All right.
Catalina, we're here. We're at the hospital. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, she's waking up.
You're watching Studio J, the best of Jefferson Middle School multimedia from Jefferson Middle School and the Fort Wayne Community Schools.
So today I'm gonna make a little meal of mine in my family that I like to call arroz con choclo. So first up, you need rice, high sea salt, garlic, ajiaco, and vegetable oil. But wash your hands. So I have 5 people in my family, so I do 4.5 cups. Now this is simple. All you do is just fill the cup and then you just pour it in. So this is how you wash the rice. You fill the pot with water and you move around the rice and keep doing this until the water is clear. And when you're done with that, you have to clean the outside of the pot to make sure that it's dry. And then after that, you have to put the pot somewhere else. Now, it doesn't have an order of ingredients, but make sure that the vegetable oil will go last after all of these. And just all you need is a little bit of garlic. You can do this with a knife too. You can mix it up again. And once you've mixed it up well enough, all you have to do after that is make sure that there's no corn or rice on the walls over here. And then you have to close the lid. Connect this. Push the power button. White rice. Now we wait.
Over the years, bikers have been given a negative image due to how television and the media have portrayed them. They are seen as being dirty, drunken, long-haired rebels who love to break the law, fight, and be disrespectful to anyone who comes around them. In reality, they are good people who stand up for those who don't have a voice and raise thousands of dollars a year for charity. They work hand in hand with law enforcement to get rid of drugs and other criminals from their neighborhoods.
First and foremost, bikers are business owners, family men, and business professionals. What the community portrays them as is criminals, villains, and or negative influence to the community, when in reality it's just the opposite. Bikers give back to the community in more ways than they could ever understand, and unfortunately we get judged in more ways than what most people could understand. And the biggest impact that bikers have is the give back, the money, the hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that we give back throughout the United States, throughout the course of a year, that 99% of your people could never imagine what we do for them. Showing up to somebody's house at night just to help them get into their house if they're handicapped, if they're a veteran in need, show up, build ramps for them, whatever it may be. That's what we do behind the scenes, and that's the stuff that people don't understand as far as the brotherhood goes.
Well, with motorcycles, there's the element of danger and the adrenaline rush, which a lot of veterans get in combat situations. So they come home and they're drawn to either fast cars or motorcycles because of the adrenaline rush. And then just naturally, once you get into the motorcycles, the brotherhood that you get from a motorcycle club or a group mimics the brotherhood you had in the service. So that's a huge draw for veterans to come home and enjoy a risky behavior with like-minded people.
With motorcycle clubs in the community, you don't have to worry about your crime. Crime rate's going to go down. People are not going to be selling drugs. You're not going to see street gangs out there, because as motorcycle clubs are not going to put up with that, because they live in those communities, they raise their families in those communities, and they work in those communities.
Good afternoon, I'm Kyla. You obviously know that by the name of this show, Cookin' Kyla. Well, everybody likes dessert, right? If they don't, they have a problem. Unless they're allergic, and that's nothing to joke about. My favorite thing to eat is dessert, and my absolute favorite thing to eat is mint chocolate chip ice cream. Yummy! So, this afternoon, I'm gonna show you an easy way to make your favorite ice cream at home. Trust me, you will be the coolest kid on the block when you break out these babies this summer with playing with your friends. Now, I'm going to teach you how to make these sweet treats. First, grab a plate from your cupboard, the Ritz from your pantry, your favorite chocolate syrup. Last, grab your favorite ice cream. Put the Ritz on your plate. Then, take your chocolate and pour some in the center of your cracker. Now, pop that plate in the freezer. Now, your chocolate is hard. And now, it's time for my favorite part. The ice cream! Take your spoon your Ritz Cracker ice cream sandwiches. Dessert is the best part of any meal. I think it's because it's one of the best times you can share with your friends and family. Whether you're celebrating a birthday, eating birthday cake, or sharing a bowl of ice cream with your sister on a hot summer's day. It can be cold, crunchy, salty, or sweet depending on what you like. I like the combination of all of these, which is why I love Ritz Cracker ice cream sandwiches. Thanks for cooking with Kyla.
This is Susie. Susie forgot to buy Q-tips. When she forgot to buy Q-tips, she went to buy more. When she went to buy more, she realized she is a college student trying to save up money. When she realized she is a college student trying to save up money, she didn't buy the Q-tips. When she didn't buy the Q-tips, she couldn't clean out her ears. When she couldn't clean out her ears, she got an ear infection. When she got an ear infection, she went to the doctor. When she went to the doctor, she realized she still had no money. When she realized she still had no money, she couldn't pay the doctor. When she couldn't pay the doctor sued her. When the doctor sued her, she ended up in prison. Don't end up in prison. Remember to buy Q-tips.
Stop it, you're not supposed to be filmed. I'm gonna buy Q-tips.
Let's say you're invited to a summer barbecue, and you only have a few hours to prepare a dish, and you don't want to bring the same thing as someone else, or just don't want to do the same thing that you always do. Well, here's your solution. Everyone knows that baked beans go well with a barbecue. How about we raise it to 4 different types of baked beans in one amazing concoction of flavor, sugar, and spice. Ingredients for this, we're going to need 8 ounces of ground beef, 8 ounces of bacon, 1 medium onion, 1 16-ounce can of pork and beans, 1 16-ounce can of black beans, 1 16-ounce can of garbanzo beans, 1 16-ounce can of red kidney beans, half a cup of ketchup, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 1 to 1/2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 2/3 of a cup of packed brown sugar, and 1 cup of mild to medium chunky salsa. Oh yeah, and a slow cooker, obviously. Prep time for this would be around 10 minutes, cook time about 4 to 6 hours, total time being around 5 to 6 hours. First off, we will need to cook the 8 ounces of ground beef. Before we start cooking the ground beef, I'm going to cut it in some pieces so it's easier to cook and cut it when it's in the skillet. As you can see here, the beef is still red with slight hints of brown. We're going to wait for that to turn entirely brown with bits of black on it, just so we know that it's cooked thoroughly. When it's finished, take it out of the skillet and let's pour it into that bowl. Then we will cook the 8 ounces of bacon. I would just use the same skillet, but remember to at least wipe it out with a paper towel, then add the bacon. Cook over medium-high heat until the bacon fat is rendered. Remove the bacon and drain on paper towel, but don't forget to drain the bacon fat, reserving at least 2 tablespoons in the skillet. Next, we will dice the onions. And now we have 1 medium onion. We have to dice this, so I recommend just unleashing your inner fruit ninja skills from early 2013. Now, saute the onions in the bacon fat until they are soft. Finally, we add all the remaining ingredients into the slow cooker. I recommend to put in all the beans first, but you can do it in any order you like. But let's at least go over them again. 1 can of pork and beans, 1 can of black beans, 1 can of garbanzo beans, 1 can of red kidney beans, half a cup of ketchup, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 1 to 1/2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 2/3 of a cup of packed brown sugar, and the special ingredient, 1 cup of mild to medium chunky salsa. Mix everything up in the crock pot, then depending on how much time you have, set it on either low, warm, or high. Low taking about 6 to 8 hours, warm taking about 4 to 5 hours, and high taking about 2 to 4 hours. Constantly mix around every 30 minutes until everything has started bubbling around the sides. Then rinse and repeat until desired heat is met. But don't undercook it or it will be cold, and don't overcook it or the beans will be soggy. Now, we just mix that baby up and just let it cook. Now, as you can see, there's steam coming out of the crock pot, meaning your food's almost done, or it is done. Just don't forget to let it cool first. So if you want to be the star of the barbecue, I recommend using this recipe. Thank you for choosing my tutorial, and I hope you end up using this recipe at some point. And if you do, I'd like to hear your feedback on how it turned out for you.
Don't you hate it when you're away at work? Your kid is at home with no Lunchables and he can't make anything for himself. Well, I have the answer. Cheesy ramen noodles. It is an easy dish to make that every kid loves. Kids can make it on their own. They can make it on the weekend when you're away. It doesn't take a lot of ingredients either. First, take the ramen and pour it into your bowl of choice. Next, fill the bowl halfway with water. After that, put the bowl in the microwave for 4 minutes. When it is done, take it out and strain the water. Now you will add your cheese, beef flavoring, and butter. Mix them thoroughly.
Enjoy, because it's delicious.
Every time your kid is at home alone, they can make ramen noodles. Your kid will love it just like I do. I eat it for lunch and dinner when I want something easy and delicious. It's cheap too, so college students are all over it. They'll need to save money, so these noodles are the way to go. When you have traditional ramen, you don't have any cheese, so we added the cheese for you. You're welcome. You should remain. Your smile, your laugh, your voice, now forever a vague fragment of my imagination and memory. Nothing is fair and yielding in the world. Your hand should not be cold. Your fingers should grip mine, so full of life, so full of warmth. But they are just as lifeless as the empty picture frames filling my mind, the halls. Think of the good times, they say. But how when the good times are no more? How can I think of you alive and well when you are the opposite? My family is splintering glass, my heart the human equivalent of shattered. For you are gone, the giver of smiles, of laughs, of memories, of happiness. So where am I to turn now that your room is silent and your bed is cold? For there is nowhere to run when time hunts you down and breaks what little remains. You should remain. The clock ticks down like a heartbeat. Tick, 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 thump, 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 beating my head to the ground. And I just want the sound to stop, like yours has. But it just keeps sounding like a drum. The Lord, if there is one, has no mercy. Unforgiving this world has become, and I know this all too well. So when people ask, "Are you okay?" what else am I to say but, "Yeah, I'm fine." And when people see me sitting alone or even with friends, laughing and smiling, they don't dare ask the question on everyone's mind, for there is no okay in my world anymore. And now that you're gone, there is no joy in my smiles. Just a mask I'm forced to hide behind because the truth hurts too much to see. You should remain. So what now? Where do I run when time is my enemy and darkness becomes my ally? I succumb to the shadows and hide from the light. But what else am I supposed to do? I scream this over and over in my mind, giving myself an excuse for my behavior when there is no explanation, no reason. So my question is this: what do you want me to do now? Now that you've been unrightfully torn from this earth, from my grip, now that they have destroyed what was so young and innocent, what was the face of purity at its finest, what was the voice of joy to those who listened. So again I ask myself, day and night, as I look at your lifeless photographs, what do you want me to do now? Because I do not know the answer. And maybe I don't want to. You should remain. And now new life brings joy. Or at least it should. But instead it brings the sweetest of sorrows. Of what could have been. What should have been. They all say, he's watching from the stars. But you should be here. But you aren't. And it's so hard to let you go. He's always with you in your heart. But you should be here. But you aren't. At least not today you aren't. And this is the realization I must come to. But if there's one thing I do know, it's this. I love you, forever and always. And for eternity you shall live. Noah Lee Cox, July 19th of 2009 through January 29th of 2016. You will remain.